Bruce's big call. Dinar Intel Tuesday night, the 8th of July 25. Listen to the full version on the official dinarreport.com blog and become our supporter on Patreon. Transcribed by Wiser, now emailed to recaps. Welcome everybody to the big call tonight. It is Tuesday, July 8th and you're listening to the big call. Thanks for tuning in everybody. It's Sue and Bruce tonight. Sue and Bruce and Bob is on location. He's remote, in the wilderness of Alaska, north to Alaska, and he's up there. I did talk to him today. And he is going to see if he can grab a cell signal somewhere between 9:30 and 9:45 tonight, so we'll see if we make it. I hope he does. If not, we'll just get a power on, just put our snowshoes on and start walking. Now, let's get into some intel. Alright, Sue. Help me to talk a little bit. Let's get into intel. What time is it? About 10 minutes of 7 minutes. Do you remember the other favorite glass talk about the first time it was about? It was about the med beds and how we get in and all that. Okay, alright. Let's talk about that first. Med bed have been, they're in position, they're all over the US, they're in Canada, they're even in Mexico, and they're all in other parts of the world. And I can't tell you the concentration of med beds everywhere else, but I know we've got a ton of them. I think we've got, gosh, how many beds? Med centers, 2 med beds in each location. I thought there's like 7,500 med bed centers in the US, right? And who knows, that number keeps changing, going up. There are mobile med bed that they'll be using to drive to people home or to their hospice locations or whatever. I mean, those are also quite extensive, and they're mobile units, alright. So here's the latest. The latest thing we've got was that med beds would be available to us by or before the 15th of this month. Now we do know we need to do our exchange first. Tell them we need to get into med bed if they can't see it already on you. But we'll enter the computer that want to go into the med bed, especially if first priority goes to ZIM holders, and the next priority is dire need. They want the ZIM holders to live long enough to see fruition in their projects, 50, 100 million, 200,000, 300 years to see the conclusion of all these projects, and some of them will be ongoing, and there might be no end to them, but the 15th was given as the new date. Now some of us have a special dispensation to go in very shortly after the exchange appointment. And that's fine. That's great. Some of us have that, and some of us are already in the system for when we go into Redemption Center. They'll check and say, oh yeah, okay, to you in the system you're in, and they'll enter something about you coming into the Redemption Center, etc. So med beds are ready for us, and look, they may make an announcement to the rest of the world. Let's put it that way, as early as the 15th, which is a week from tonight, a week from today. So they may do, or it might get pushed back, but we should be good to go shortly after we exchange. Okay, so there's your med bed, and yes, I have not personally seen it, but my handler has seen them. And we know a little bit about, as we've seen, we don't sort of operate, what they look like, how the data is going to be entered into the computer, how it's going to all work. And I can just tell you this much, when that clamshell cover closes a foot and a half, a little pad on the med bed so there's no claustrophobia. It doesn't close down on you. It's not like a CT scan or anything like that. It's totally wide open, and it does what it needs to do without giving you any claustrophobia. Don't worry about that. Alright, now, let's move on to the next point about Canada. Will Alberta? Will it succeed from Canada? There's talk about it. They're set up, they're got a referendum, if they get enough signatures that people in Canada that want to leave Canada and join the United States. Let's see what else. So let's talk about Canada. Canada has a number of redemption centers. Do they have one in Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan? I don't know. But concentration of population in Canada, for the most part, is in the first 100 miles north of US-Canadian border. So major cities obviously would have redemption centers. The group that is over the redemption centers for Canada is primarily HSBC, but it probably is staffed by people from RBC, Royal Bank of Canada, and also Scotiabank, and maybe some other things for that matter. But the trick is to call the 800 number that I will get and see what they say about your weird thing is. Your zip code is not, where you have the letter numbers in your zip code. We just have numbers here. But anyway, whatever you can do, try to go to a redemption center and set an appointment, just like we're going to do stateside. And if you're Canadian, don't try to come down with currency into the United States. It could be seized, let's just say arrested, and if you are coming up from Mexico, don't even think about it. Trying to bring currency into the United States to exchange it, forget about it. Or you will be arrested and your current currency seized. Okay. Do it in your own country. Because when Gesera kicks in, everybody that is a citizen of Canada gets Gesera money, everybody in Mexico and all the other countries in Central and South America. Get Gesera monies spread around. Okay, now, when you are in the US, put on what we call this, RNESARA, and that's going to happen and roll out. My understanding is there could be a change to this. We'll roll out September and the end of the year. I can't tell you exactly what is going to happen when, so don't look for NESARA to roll out immediately. However, we do have an asset-backed currency. And I think I told you guys Thursday that all countries in the world are to have asset-backed currencies now. Which means they're backed by in-ground assets are in the country like, for example, gold, silver, palladium, platinum, copper, other metals that are important, also by oil, natural gas. In our space, we have intellectual property, patents, all of that stuff has values, and all of that is part of the assets that are backing our USN currency. So for Canada, just make sure that you try my separate for Canada in your emails, because I know that I heard that at one point that there would be a separate 800 number for Canada, separate from Mexico. Now, if you're in Mexico and on south into Central and South America, the lead bank is Santander Bank, is what we would call it in English. Uncle Santander is a major bank, the Spanish bank from Spain, and they've got branches throughout America. Get with, but I think I believe you'll have redemption center in Central and South America, specifics about it, like I have in Canada. It seemed like in Canada we had something in vicinity 1500 to 1700 redemption centers. So and these numbers can change, but the benefit of using the redemption center, as opposed to just any old bank, is the rates are going to be better at the return. Certainly on the ZIM, they'll be the only people that can exchange or redeem the ZIM. And secondly, the dinar will have contract rate here in the United States. I don't think it's going to happen everywhere else. I think it's just for us that we get a contract rate on dinar. Let's talk briefly. We heard today that, we heard yesterday that, and then had raised on redemption center screen. Don't know about the banks. The redemption center had half. We anticipate that all currencies and their 24 total currencies that would be going up significantly in value. All 4 of those should be up on the screen tomorrow at the redemption center. That's what we're hearing from center operative. Now, another thing that we're hearing, and by the way, we know a bit about Canada because you have backed a number of redemption centers in Canada, so we do talk to him. The other piece that's interesting for me is there is information from another redemption center leader over 8 redemption centers in the United States, and he is saying that we should exchange by Thursday. Do either today or tomorrow. Hasn't happened yet today, but I'm thinking it could very well on Wednesday. With us setting our appointment and going in for exchanges on Thursday. Okay, so that is really the most pertinent information that we're all looking to have. We have heard, I told you guys last Thursday that Social Security increases would be as low as 90% above now that are 65 years old now. Higher up to 110% if you are 70 and older, 110% of what you're currently receiving now. Now will it occur this month? Well, tomorrow's Wednesday, 2nd. Wednesday, people in the US, I don't know, maybe not. I don't know what happened on the 2nd. I don't know. I haven't heard a report anybody that's the first Wednesday on the 2nd, having been paid an additional 85, 90 to 110%, so I'm going to hold off. I don't know for sure, but we thought, or we were told, that the increase would occur in the month July. Well, could they make an extra payment in July for those in the first week? Yeah, they could. So we will let that one lay. We don't know, that's the least important for us anyway, RV. Get the 800 number, setting your appointment, going in for your exchange. The R&R has been approved in the Big, Bad, Beautiful Bill. I add that extra B on it. The Big Beautiful Bill is supposed to be in there. I've been told it is, and so is the Doge payment. Those are going to be significant numbers, so we'll see what happens on that, and we'll see if they're included this month. So let's see, is there anything? Sue, is there anything that you can think of that we need to talk about? Because I think that's all the basic intel that I have. I think it is. Yeah. We'll have a call on Thursday. I hope it's a celebration. Call you guys. I hope so. Listen, I'm looking for the 800 number, coming to me any day now. And when it does, We will put it out on the website, and we'll also send out a group email to everybody that registered that wants the toll-free number from Big Call Universe. Okay. Now will you be getting an email from Wells Fargo? Yeah, they got the list, they know, and they'll be sending those out with the 800 number. So we're looking for that, but we've also, there are some people that they might not have the email from. Maybe you've changed your email, and if you have, let us know you haven't changed it. We've got you if you've already registered. That's all I had to say tonight. I want to thank Sue. Thank Bob. Hope he's having a good time this afternoon. I know he is, and hopefully we'll get talk to him on Thursday, so everybody have a good night. Listen to the full version on the official DinarReport.com blog and become our supporter on Patreon. Source: DinarRecaps.com